Good afternoon. I hope you had a nice lunch, just like I did. Happy to see most of you came back. I would like to firstly thank Jayanti Dalmia, the National President of Wikiflow, Namita Gautam, Managing Trustee of Sleepwell Foundation, and a dear friend, Joy Sri Das Verma, our Honorary Consul in Assam, for inviting me. The topic today is the best practices and wellness for young women, but I think the way to improve the wellness of young women is through focusing on equality and providing a level playing field. This is a topic very close to my heart, and also talking about the core of what I do at the embassy as head of public diplomacy. When it comes to the case of Israel, there are many similarities with the rest of the world, but there are also many differences. And to explain those differences, I would like to first mention a very important part of the history of the State of Israel. Before Israel was established, women took equal part in the struggle to establish the State of Israel. They were equal in all combat positions, including service as combat pilots during the Independence War in 1948. Women were even paratroopers who parachuted beyond Nazi war lines in 1944 as part of the small Jewish unit that was established to assist the Alliance in the war and to save Jews in Europe. However, when the State of Israel was established and the Israeli Defense Force was formed, it was decided then that women should not be assigned to combat roles, but rather only to serve in training or administrative positions. Now I'd like to share with you one of those stories of one woman, but that story of hers changed and shaped women in Israel's fight for gender equality. Alice Miller, her name. She was a young Israeli who was born in South Africa. Her dream was to become an astronaut, and she studied aeronautics. She even earned a civilian pilot license in preparation to achieve her dream. And in 1995, after she was prevented from applying to the Israeli Defense Force flight course, the only option which exists in Israel to become a combat pilot, because obviously she was a woman, she decided to appeal to the Supreme Court, and she won a landmark case. Alice Miller won her court case, and women in Israel were allowed to become pilots once again. Now, we are talking about combat pilots, one of the most prestigious positions in Israel's Defense Force. From that point on, female combat pilots gradually became the norm, and the country seemed to stop paying attention to the story. It just became normal. The Alice Miller ruling was a groundbreaking decision. It changed the paradigm about women's role in the Israeli Defense Force, or maybe just took us back to the situation that already existed in the 1940s. I have to tell you, me myself, I can't remember the case or the atmosphere around it or the conversations in Israel at that time. I was born, but I was very little. But I can tell you that my whole life, I actually don't remember feeling restricted or limited due to my gender. And I think that says a lot. As for Alice Miller, she became a symbol and a role model. Since then, more and more positions were open to women, including combat positions in the IDF, and I think it also changed the way we think in Israel about women and gender equality and women empowerment. Women shouldn't be included because we are 50% of the population, but because there is no question that diverse perspectives are necessary, whether it's in education and management, but also in sciences and in decision making. it leads to better results. Including women in all these processes will open door for utilizing more available talent experience in the conversation. It makes no sense to just give up on such powerful resources. I don't plan to convince you that women should be included in certain areas like national defense or politics. I don't believe there is one way to do those things and to achieve gender equality. I believe it's a process and there is no one-size-fits-all strategy to achieve it. I believe we are all in agreement here that we want to have gender equality worldwide. I came early today and I listened to the panel that was prior to the lunch. And I was very happy to hear that many of them also mentioned gender equality and the importance of women empowerment. And I'm very happy that I decided to talk about the same topic, even though I understand it's not exactly what's written here. But I believe that's the way to bring young women wellness. I can tell you a few examples from Israel. I can tell you about an NGO that's called Forum Dvora. It's working to improve the representation of women in key decision-making positions in national security and in foreign policy. The NGO is named after a biblical prophet, Deborah, an extraordinary woman of her time. She was a leader, a judge, a warrior, a counselor, and a poet, who is still a role model and an inspiration. Now, this NGO works in several main areas. They are promoting the inclusion of women in national decision-making processes. They're ensuring the equal participation of women in the security establishment. This NGO, which has many ambassadors in high-ranking officers as active members, it is an excellent example of a concrete and initiatives to increase the participation of women in key leadership positions. Forums such as that one can play an important role in every country, not just in Israel. And again, I'm not saying I know better. It's very important for me for you to understand that. I'm just sharing our experience and what I see. Another example, which is much more relevant to my profession, is a course by a company called MoveUp. It was actually established by a former diplomat of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. The course's main goal is to grow the number of female diplomats in the media. The project came from her understanding that women, even trained diplomats, are less likely to participate in media activities, such as willing to be interviewed or participating in live panels. The reason that she found and she believed, maybe some of you will find it familiar, is that women are often reluctant to participate in public debates unless they consider themselves to be a subject matter experts. This is not just true with respect to the media, but it also occurs in everyday business meetings, in participating and speaking in an event such as this, or even in informal conversations. To address this trend that she found, my Ministry of Foreign Affairs decided to develop a tailor-made training for female diplomats at different ranks, not only to improve their capabilities, but also to build a better confidence and awareness to these self-inflicting limitations by women in order to change it. The results of the training were remarkable, and there was immediate increase in the number of interviews given by many women, exactly those who participated in the course. I also can share my own experience. When I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I think it was a bit more than 4 years ago now, I was one of 17 women in the room, and there were only 6 males. I say it smiling because I'm always happy to share that. I'll tell you even more than that, not 6 men finished the course. But don't tell I tell you that, okay? That's between you and me. About our embassy here in India. In the political section, yes, we do have a male ambassador, a man ambassador, and a male deputy. But in the political section, the Israeli diplomats and the local staff, we have a majority of women. You can see it clearly. You don't even need to count when you enter the room. And I do like to tell you a bit about a few projects that we've done, because in almost every project that my division does here in India, we try to always focus on women empowerment too, on gender equality too. Everywhere we go, every lecture we've been to, we look at the crowd and I immediately tell my dear assistant Nea, they're smiling. The first thing she can vouch for me that I say, we have more women than men in the crowd. Even if it's with students, it doesn't matter. Even if we have 10 people in the crowd, but at least there are more women than men, my eyes lit and I can't take away the smile. I want to tell you a bit about our projects now, as I said. One of our projects that we've done here in collaboration with the Kushi Foundation is called Amidi. It's a skill development center to promote women empowerment and health in upscaling young women from less fortunate social economic backgrounds of the society as general duty assistants. We've already had 101 graduates, and now we started 2 more courses with, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 25 women each. We had just a few months ago a delegation of 4 Israeli women agronomists came specifically here to India to have a seminar and a few more interactions exclusively with women in agriculture, with women agriculture officers and women farmers in the country. We also had a culture project. We collaborated with the Delhi Street Art to conceive and execute a wall art project. It's a mural as a tribute to the deep-rooted cultural relations between India and Israel. It's showcasing 3 prominent Indian Jewish actresses who made a mark in the Indian cinematic history. Now, excuse me if I don't pronounce the names exactly right, but I'll do my best, okay? Some of you might know their names. Esther Victoria Abraham, she was usually known as Pramila, Solochna, Ruby Mayers, and Nadira. Her full name was Florence Ezekiel. We also had joint projects with IIT Delhi and the We Foundation to promote women entrepreneurs, and we brought an expert from Israel to have a course with them, who is an international mentor. These are just examples that we undertake to promote women empowerment and strengthen ties between India and Israel. We are planning to continue to support gender equality and gender-related projects, and I look forward to expand the dialogue on experience and best practices on the matter. As I'm sure you don't necessarily know. Both of our nations are one of the few that had a woman prime minister around the same time. Golda Meir was the 4th prime minister of Israel. She was the first woman to become a head of government in Israel. And similarly here in India, Indira Gandhi served as the 3rd prime minister. She was India's first, and to date the only prime minister. But of course, I'm not forgetting that now India has a woman president, and I'm sure you're all very happy about that. I would like to express my appreciation to the organizers of this event for allowing me to share some information about Israel and some of my own experiences. If you will allow me, I'll conclude my remarks by underscoring that it is essential to ensure that we make every effort and take every opportunity to open doors for women at a very young age in order to give them a sense of their potential, not just in their eyes, but as valued members of their respective societies. Going forward, we must all actively work together to ensure greater participation of women in all fields, all professions, even at the decision makers table. Again, there's no question that diverse participation is in decision-making leads to better results. I do want to say that in future, I hope to speak more on women empowerment and gender equality to an audience of both men and women, as men need to be here because they're part of the topic as well. They're an important part of the conversation. And I like to end with a quote by Sheryl Sandberg. I know the name. I know you all know the name, so. A truly equal world would be one where women ran half of our countries and companies, and men ran half of our homes. Thank you very much.